don't eat them at all. Now, personally, I think some of these oils, if they're used correctly, that is, if they're not cooked and they're not heated and they're kept in a refrigerator and they're used fresh and they're kept in a dark bottle, in my opinion and in my experience, personal experience and experience with my patients, I've seen that these things can be wonderful sources of nutrients and very beneficial. So, in my opinion, you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater if you avoid liquid oils because there's so many good things in there. You got to be careful. Yes, you don't want to cook them. You don't want to fry with them. You want to use them fresh. You want to make sure they're in a dark bottle, etc. But as long as they are, you're going to get some wonderful nutritional value out of these things, especially heart-friendly nutrients. Now, it's a judgment call. That's my opinion, and everyone's going to have to make their own decisions, but that's my take on that whole controversy around liquid oils. So these liquid fats, these unsaturated fats, are especially good sources of two incredibly important nutritional components. These two critical nutritional components are only found, or mostly found, in liquid fats. And these two components, these two nutritional components that are found in unsaturated liquid fats are acids. They're acidic in nature. And they're vital. They're so vital, they're essential, like air. And like water, you can't live without these two acidic compounds, these two acidic fats that are found in unsaturated oils. They're essential and they're acidic. And they're almost like vitamins. They're part of the mighty 90 essential nutrients, which is why we call them essential acids, or more accurately, essential fatty acids, or EFAs. So EFAs are found in unsaturated oils largely. They're found in liquid oils largely. They come in two varieties. They're acidic, and they are essential, which means they're like air, they're like water, they're like vitamins. You cannot live without these EFAs. In the world of nutrition, if you hear the word essential as an essential fatty acid or essential amino acid or essential nutrient, what that means is you better get it in your diet because your body's not making it and you need it. In the case of essential fatty acid deficiencies, which are extremely common, you have all kinds of symptoms that are associated with not getting enough EFAs, especially skin issues, autoimmune issues. Even cancer can be associated with deficiencies in essential fatty acids. Inflammation can be associated with essential fatty acid deficiencies. But the biggest, the most PMS issues also can be associated with EFA deficiencies. Because EFAs are important for the absorption of fats, it's a vicious downward spiral. Once you're deficient in your EFAs, you're not going to absorb your EFAs as effectively, which means you'll be more deficient, which means you'll absorb them even less, and this is where the downward spiral comes from. No part of the body is more in need of essential fatty acids, and no part of the body is more susceptible to deficiency disease states from EFA deficiency than the skin. In fact, skin diseases are the body's cry for essential fatty acids. Psoriasis, acne, dermatitis, even ultimately melanomas and skin cancer may be related to essential fatty acid deficiency. All right. Got more to say about EFA deficiencies and the skin. We'll talk about the importance of a vitamin, one incredible vitamin that helps stabilize essential fatty acids. When we come back from our break, we'll take your phone calls as well. 844-236-6010. Okay, we are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. 844-236-6010. We're talking essential fats, liquid fats, solid fats. Your liquid fats are unsaturated. Your solid fats, fake or natural, called saturated fats. Liquid fats they're unstable, but they're also really important sources of nutrition, especially vitamin E and especially something called phytosterols, plant hormone-like substances, steroid hormone-like substances, which can help improve our steroid hormone, the actions of our steroid hormones. Liquid fats are also a great source of vitamin E, so important for the brain. Vitamin E is ridiculously important, actually, and we'll talk about that probably tomorrow, how unbelievably, phenomenally important vitamin E is. I got a letter from my friend Gina in Oregon. She said, Ben, you're absolutely correct. I'm paraphrasing here. Vitamin E can be used very effectively for burns and for cuts and for scrapes, and I've noticed it in my practice now for decades, that when you take high doses of vitamin E, your wounds heal faster. Doctors will actually tell you not to take vitamin E before surgery because vitamin E has a thinning effect on the blood. But as it turns out, thinning is not necessarily a bad thing, thinning of the blood. Thinning of the blood means more nutrient delivery. It means more detoxification. I read a really interesting study, and I can't find it now, but I read this really interesting study yesterday about estrogen and blood clotting. Do you know estrogen, estradiol specifically, actually a form of estradiol, one of these breakdown products of estrogen that we talked about yesterday, is actually so effective as a blood clotter that it's being explored for use in the military for soldiers who are wounded. They're trying to use this toxic byproduct of estrogen as a blood clotting agent for wounded soldiers. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you that if your body is making an excess amount of this derivative of estrogen because you have a liver problem, or you're not making enough bile, or you have an intestinal problem, or you got problems with your gut bacteria, that pretty much covers most of us, you're going to be clotting. Your blood's going to be thick. Your blood's going to be stagnant. Your blood's not going to be circulating as effectively. That means a lot of problems can ensue, including nutritional deficiencies, including toxicity, including blood sugar problems, all secondary to a problem metabolizing or utilizing or eliminating estrogen. This is so important for people suffering from fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, autoimmune diseases. Why do you think most victims of autoimmune diseases are women? It's because of this involvement with toxic estrogen, and partially at least, because of the association between toxic estrogen and stagnant, sticky, thick, clotted blood. There's also an epidemic of blood clotting, probably, again, secondary to problems associated with estrogen metabolism. I'm telling you, if you want to pick one single thing to do for your health, it's work on your digestive system. Vitamin E, of course, will help. Vitamin E is a blood-thinning vitamin. And it's very difficult to get vitamin E from foods. Grain oils are your best source of vitamin E, and you're still not going to get that much anyway. That's why it's so important to supplement with your vitamin E. Different types of vitamin. We'll talk about vitamin E here tomorrow or the next day. We'll also talk about the omega-3s and omega-6s, the relationship between omega-3s and omega-6s, how much you need, etc., what they both do. We'll do all that in the coming days as we continue talking fats, hormones, and skin health on the bright side. All right, got lines open for you. 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. Let's go to Tawanda in Oklahoma. Welcome to the bright side, Tawanda.
Thank you. How are you doing this morning, Ben?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Great. And can you turn your radio down if you have not done that already so we don't get an echo?
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yes, we got you. Okay. What's going on?
Well, my question has been for children ages 2 through 5 with skin eczema, what's good to do for them?
Oh, my gosh. It's so easy to deal with. Is it your baby?
No, it's a friend of my baby.
How well do you know her? Do you know the child?
Very well.
Yes, very well? Yes? Does the child have snotty nose, runny nose, and ear infections and that kind of stuff?
Yes, and the breath is really bad as well.
Okay, bingo. You're dealing with a digestive problem. The breath issue tells me that there's a problem with gut bacteria, but I didn't need to know that. Usually that's the case. So what you want to do is you want to start working with food. Eczema is super, 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 super easy to treat. So is psoriasis. And psoriasis and eczema are very similar. Psoriasis is reverse eczema. Psoriasis is when skin cells are growing too fast. Eczema is when they're not growing fast enough. But they both involve inflammation. Inflammation means two things. Number one, immune system and digestive problems. And number two, problems with fats. Those are the two areas you're going to work with. And they're related. So digestion, that means elimination diet. That means look for foods that cause problems. Look for foods that cause eczema flare-ups. Look for foods that cause exacerbation of mucus, snottiness, or can trigger infections, ear infections. Ear infections are, by the way, the same thing. And ear infections are like an epidemic in little kids. Not a reason for an antibiotic, FYI.
Yeah.
So eczema, eczema, snottiness, snotty nose, mucus, runny nose, ear infections. Look for flare-ups and link those to foods. Write down everything the child should write down, or the mom should write down everything the child eats, and then link the foods to those kinds of problems. That will give you a clue as to what the kid is reacting to. Usually dairy's involved, grains can be involved, peanuts can be involved, soy, eggs. There's lots of things, and you don't want to get all hooked on what you think it might be. You want to kind of get specific data for the specific patient, the specific child.
Exactly.
Okay, good. So you're going to eliminate food. You're going to look for foods, and you're going to eliminate them. Step number 1. Step number 2 is you're going to start to support the digestive system with gut bacteria, probiotics. Get a kitty probiotic. Also fermented foods if the kid will eat them. A lot of kids won't eat that, but you can always get them a child probiotic, I should say. And if the kid's on an antibiotic, which they usually are, it becomes even more important that they're on probiotics when they're done with their antibiotics. So making sure you're supporting the kid's digestion with probiotics. You might want to try a little of the Z radical or the Fucoid Z. Now, the Z radical is a little sweet, but the kid will like it. I would dilute it, but the sugars in the Z radical or the Fucoid Z, for that matter, will coat the digestive tract. And that can help support digestive health. Also, you might want to use, if the kid will eat chicken soup, bone soup, real chicken soup made with the bones, that can also have a beneficial effect on the digestive tract. The next thing, so number 1 is you're going to work on digestion. Number 2 is you got to work on fats. And they're related because fats are harder to absorb. So if there's a digestive problem, the kid's not going to be absorbing his fats. So essential fatty acids are not optional for anybody, period. Remember, I just said they were essential, but especially if a child's got eczema. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish can be helpful. Omega-3 fatty acids from flaxseed can be helpful. And omega-6 fatty acids are important as well. There's way more omega-6s in the skin, by the way, than omega-3s. A lot of nutritionists are telling people, don't worry about your omega-6s. You get too many of them, blah, blah, blah. I'm not buying it, because most of us are cooking or processing or heating or our omega-6 oils, or we're buying them in a clear bottle and the omega-6s have been removed. So both omega-6s and omega-3s are important. If the kid can take, how old did you say he was? Did you say 2? Okay, so probably he's not going to be able to do the capsules, but you can break open the capsules, the Ultimate EFA capsules, maybe 2 or 3 of the Ultimate EFA capsules, and then squeeze them into some applesauce or something that the kid will eat, some like rice pudding or something along those lines, something that the kid will eat. You can also squeeze open the capsules and put them right on the eczema. That can help.
Yeah, that was my next question. Good.
Absolutely, you can do that. And there's also fatty vitamins that you can do that with. Hang tight, there's a couple more things I want to tell you. There's also, we talked about this yesterday, there's also a really neat essential fatty acid derivative from omega-6s that you can apply right on the eczema, or you can use orally as a supplement. Hang tight, Tawanda. We'll finish up when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're talking to Tawanda in Oklahoma. So work on the digestive system, number 1, Tawanda. The breath issue is definitely, well, not definitely, but more than likely a bacterial issue, a gut bacteria issue. So probiotics, if you can break open a probiotic, there are liquid probiotics for children, too, that you can get. And then also working on digestive health, coating and soothing the digestive system, and then using the Fucoid Z and the Z radical in bone soup. And then also doing a food diary and eliminating problem foods. Then you want to work with fats. Now, fats, there's 2 different kinds of fats you're going to want to work with. Number 1, your essential fatty acids, and you can break open a capsule and squeeze the contents of your Ultimate EFA or Ultimate EFA Plus on in some rice pudding or applesauce or something that the kid will eat, fish or something like that. And then also you can apply the oil, right, the EFA liquid, right on the eczema, right on the rash. You can also use fish oil is another one too. Fish oil can be very helpful for eczema in fish too. But you can also use something called GLA, which we talked about yesterday. GLA is a breakdown product, a derivative of omega-6 fatty acids, and it can be really, really helpful for eczema, both internally and externally. That is, you can take GLA capsules. You'll get some GLA, as we said yesterday, in your Ultimate EFA Plus. But if you want more, you can get GLA capsules straight. They usually use Evening Primrose or Barrage, but they call it GLA. Okay. And then you can apply it right on the skin. And then there's the fatty vitamins. Vitamin A and D in particular are very, very important for eczema, very, very important for the child's development, getting the kid out in the sun to get his vitamin D. Also, fish oil is a source of vitamin D. Supplemental vitamin D, maybe 1,000 to 2,000, up to 5,000 international units a day for a 2-year-old probably. Can't really overdo well, you can theoretically, but it's very difficult to overdo the vitamin A. Vitamin A containing foods or animal foods unfortunately, a lot of the foods that contain vitamin A may cause reactions, so you got to be observant, but certainly the supplements should be no problem. And then last but not least, there's minerals that are related to the fatty system, particularly zinc and selenium. Zinc is also very important for development of muscle, development of bone, development of the brain in children, and zinc deficiency